So, to understand modern leadership, I think it makes sense to understand what's going on for leaders right now. So, here's my question for you. Please put your answers in the chat. How does it feel to be a leader right now? So, as I'm sure you know, we spend our lives talking to leaders, and I feel that this diagram almost best sums up how leaders are feeling right now. The most common word we get is overwhelming. It's a lot. We also get that it is exciting, but I just don't quite know how to handle all of this. And that makes real sense to us because um, the context of leadership has changed. It's changed quite significantly. What we're expecting of our leaders has gone through the roof. This makes sense because there's been a shift. There's been a shift from this level of events. It's always been that life and leadership is one event after the other. But what's happened is that we've gone from this level of events to this level of events. It used to be that there was a playbook for leadership. So in this situation, you do this, and in this situation, you do this. And we literally teach people how to handle different situations. But actually, the playbook doesn't work anymore because of this. So the shift that we're experiencing is a shift from strategies, do this in this situation, to strength. And that means actually being ready for anything. So I would say modern leaders need to be ready for anything. I am not talking about needing all the answers, but they do need to have the ability to navigate the events that may be coming their way. So I'm talking about the inner resilience, the agility, the curiosity, the openness to learning, the openness to change. If we're going to be operating as brilliant modern leaders, what it means is that we need to operate from our highest state. How do we operate from our highest state? Well, there's a really quick quip, I think, is the answer: not by doing what we've been doing so far. Right now, leaders are feeling overwhelmed, and it's not just us on this call, it's leaders everywhere. So if we want different, we need to do different. So let's first agree what it is. How do you feel when you are in your highest state? This is how and when we went to the Ivy House team, how we feel when we are operating from our highest state: energized, mentally, physically, and emotionally well. So wellness, mentally, physically, and emotionally well. Clear, directional, I know what I'm doing and why. Resourced, I have what I need to do the job. I am motivated, I'm aligned to the mission. I am resilient. Open, growing, my favorite word, spacious, creative, agile. When we are in this state, it enables better thinking and better behavior. Now, that's not rocket science, is it? When we are operating from this place, we operate at a much higher level. It's about consistency and it is about sustainability. So when we operate from this state, we're not pulling from empty, but we are in our element. We are clear and resourced to do the job in hand. So I'm going to ask you for a moment of radical honesty now. So what I'd love you to do is to think about what percentage of the time you are operating from your highest state. Simple question for you guys is, what difference would it make to you in your life and your organization if you were operating almost all of the time at 75% highest state? And who would you rather work for? A leader that was in their highest state, or a leader is operating at below 25% state? No, it's a rhetorical question. So why does this matter? It matters because leadership is only ever experienced through behavior. Anyone that is led by me only experiences me because of the behavior, what I say and what I do, what they hear from me, the behavior I put in the space between us. That's the only way they know me. And my behavior is directly affected by the state I am in. Of course, it's the same for your family, right? The behavior you put into the space with your family, your nearest and dearest, it always makes me laugh that we save our worst behavior for the people we love most. But that behavior is what creates the relationship, and leadership is only ever experienced in that way. The second is our behavior is what impacts the results we've got. As we see, the events keep coming, right? They keep coming, but the behavior we choose in response to it will deliver the result. When we are operating from empty and we're exhausted and we're overwhelmed, there is not a gap between the event hitting us and our responsive reaction. We say, I'm stressed because of this. I'm tired because of that, something over there. I'm angry because you made me angry. And that is not operating from our highest state. We need to recognize that human beings have agency. We as leaders have agency to choose our reactions and to choose the state we create within ourselves. So, of course, the key question we all need to ask ourselves if we are going to become brilliant modern leaders is, are we prepared to change that? Are we prepared to take ownership for our state? And are we prepared to support our team to do the same? So it's this level of ownership that is key to modern leadership. This isn't going to happen by accident. First, we need to recognize the importance of operating from a higher state as these events are literally hitting us. Then we need to commit to doing something about it, both personally and organizationally. This is a group endeavor. So the question you all want me to answer is, how do we do that? I think there are three fundamental things that you need to pay attention to when developing future fit, brilliant modern leaders. The first is core. Now, this in part is what we've been talking about. Core is about the leader you were born to be. It's about playing to your strengths. It's about understanding how you and when you are in flow, what matters to you. And core is also about core leadership capability. I call it game-changing leadership capability that allows you to be your most powerful self. So the first bit is core. The second bit then is context. This is about taking the brilliance you've uncovered in core and enabling that person to operate within the context of their role and your market at the moment. So people need to understand both the internal and the external context they're working in. If you go out and create clarity around the context for your people, it will all of a sudden, it'll be like birds flying in a V. It'll all of a sudden mean that people can align. The third piece is craft. Now, craft are the specific skills and capabilities that people need to do their role. Not everybody needs to be able to sell or to be able to build relationships with clients. You need to be super clear on what skills I need to do this job in this context really, really well. So that's craft. And when you get these three things right, you will get all the things that you hope to get from any kind of leadership development program. So the third piece I wanted to share with you is the leader map. Now, we have all seen many, many different types and kinds of competency and capability frameworks, yeah? But it's how we use them that matters. The first thing to note about a capability map or a competency map is that all skills are not born equal. So 100%, your leaders, every leader need their core skills. They need to know how to use their mind. They need to be courageous learners. They need to know how to operate from strength. Without that, they cannot lead. So all leaders need that. Having recognized that, you need to map what each role needs. So what context do these people in this role need? And how do we get it to them? You will have subject matter experts within your business that can start to develop the context expertise of your people. And then you map the craft skills, given that they have core, what specifically do they need to succeed in this role? And it is not all of them. It's just not. And once you've done that, once you have mapped the role against the competencies, of course, you map the individual. It's really interesting. When I mapped the CEO role for Ivy House, And then I put myself against that job. It was very, very clear to me that I am not a CEO shaped leader, right? So that brings me to where we started. How do we become brilliant modern leaders? Well, what we've covered here is we need to have a mindset of being ready for anything. That's the first thing we need. The second thing we need to do is prioritize our highest state. And I absolutely know that all of you want that. You want that for your life. You want that for your kids and your families. Okay, so this is my fundamental belief about this. To be powerful in the world as it transforms digitally, culturally, and economically, first, we must ignite our humanity. And I think that is one of the most exciting things I've ever heard. What's happening externally is forcing us to return to our natural state, by the way, what humans were born to be: creative, resilient, connected, our capacity to learn and grow. That's how we were born to be, right? And that's what modern leadership is forcing us to do.